It is, and let's listen. Okay. So this is the Litany of the Saints, asking the saints to pray for Pope Francis.
Exactly, it's asking for the intercessions of the saints, and the choir are listing the names of the saints: St. John the Baptist, St. Joseph, St. Peter and St. Paul, St. Andrew, a long list of the saints, and they are chanting Orate pro eo, pray for him. So asking for the saints to pray and intercede for Pope Francis.
And they'll read off the names of 73 saints, asking each of those saints to pray for Pope Francis.
That's right. Each of those saints are being asked to pray for the Pope. It's quite a beautiful chant.
Let's listen in. This is the Litany of the Saints, the reading of 73 names of saints, asking each of them to pray for Pope Francis. David Culver was pointing out to me something important about communion, and how under Pope Francis there was a kind of a reframing of how Catholics are often taught to perceive communion. See that Pope Francis wrote that the Eucharist is not a prize for the perfect, but a generous medicine and food for the weak.
Yes, that's very important. Yes, he insisted that the Eucharist shouldn't be seen as some sort of prize for the perfect, but it's food for the journey. And during his pontificate, he opened up the possibility for divorced and remarried Catholics to receive communion, previously barred from doing so. It was all part of his vision of the Church for everyone. He used to insist that the Church must welcome all people. And Cardinal Ray in the sermon said that the Pope emphasized mercy time and again. Francis said famously, it's not us, it's not God who gets tired of forgiving, it's us who get tired of asking for forgiveness.
It seems very appropriate then that communion was given to so many in this crowd. Anybody who wanted could come up and receive communion.
That's right, and obviously the teaching of the Church is that it's Catholics in communion who should receive the Eucharist. But Francis didn't want to put up kind of barriers of entry to faith. He wanted to encourage faith. He said the church must not be like a customs house where you have to pay a toll to get in. The church is a family and it welcomes everyone.
I want to bring in Kim Daniels, who has been watching along with us. Kim, what are your thoughts in this moment?
You know, I felt like I saw three themes here. First, I saw the idea that we're rooted in tradition, yet forward-looking. You see the tradition right in front of you, right? We see the Litany of the Saints. We see the remarkable funeral liturgy mass that we're all familiar with, that stretches back generations, but obviously here is very special for Pope Francis. We secondly see this global communion, and that's in the world leaders that are gathered there, but most importantly in the people who are there in the square, who again are just from around the world. We are such a global faith. I think what was so striking about this was mission. This is our gospel mission. The homily was rooted in this idea of our gospel mission to feed my sheep, he said. That's what Cardinal Ray said. And it was just a striking and forceful demonstration of the idea that we're called to be there for the marginalized, the poor. The church is called to be a pastor and to care for those in need.
And the Litany of the Saints continues. Also want to check in with Katie McGrady, who has also been watching this remarkable moment. Katie, what stands out to you?
I was really struck by how in the moments of communion you could see that the bishops and the concelebrating priests and the cardinals were certainly being very reflective and prayerful, kind of probably taking in this hugely significant moment. I think it's also worth noting Cardinal Ray, who's been presiding, who's in his 90s, was ordained in 1957. So think for a moment of how much history he has seen, and in this moment as we're commending Pope Francis to the Lord, that it really is this very striking historical moment. So I just kind of keep going back to how much history has he seen in this historical moment with so many people gathered together.
We're nearing the end of the Litany of Saints. What comes after this, Christopher? The prayer
after this, we're having the prayer of the Eastern churches. Now, the Pope is not just the Pope of the Western Church. There are the churches of the East in communion with the Bishop of Rome, with the Holy See, but they have their own identity and traditions, and we're going to see a taste of that with their singing of the prayer from their own liturgy for the dead.
Deus, fidelis
O God,
remunerator animarum,
faithful rewarder of souls, grant that your departed servant and our Bishop, Pope Francis, whom you have made successor of Peter and shepherd of your church, may happily enjoy forever in your presence in heaven the mysteries of your grace and compassion, which he faithfully ministered on earth. Through Christ our Lord.